was looking back through old videos on my channel and I came across one from almost 3 years ago that is approaching 1 million views. It was a budget meal plan feeding my family of 5 for a week on a $70 budget. Well, I made that video in June of 2022. It is April of 2025 now. Almost 3 years later, I'm really curious how that old video and that old meal plan holds up. How much would it cost now to make that exact same meal plan with those items? And also, what changes would I make? I mean, my family's grown up a little bit. My kids are older, they eat more food, our tastes and preferences may have changed. So we're gonna look at the old video, we're gonna make a new one too. For that video, I chose a budget of $70 because there are 5 people in my family. I was trying to come up with enough food for 7 days, so that comes out to $2 per person per day. And looking back through it, I think I did pretty well. And honestly, a lot of the meals that I made with that are things that we still eat. Things like spicy ramen, a skillet dish that I make all the time, taco bowls with beans and rice and seasoned meat, good old spaghetti, tried and true family favorite, an Italian pasta salad that had me craving it. We're coming into summer. I'm definitely gonna be making that pasta salad with the chickpeas and the pepperonis real soon. Plus breakfast for dinner, a classic, although one that is a little bit pricier today because eggs are definitely more expensive than they were 3 years ago. I also picked up things for easy breakfast, things like cereal, pancakes. I bought a canister of grits for that video. In addition to leftovers, which is a common lunch around here, especially for my husband and myself, I made a chickpea and rice salad. I made some homemade Lunchables with crackers and cheese and pepperonis for the kids. We had stuff for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, mac and cheese. It was summertime, so I didn't have to worry about packing lunches. I was able to make that meal plan come together by using some of the same tactics that I use now when I'm putting together budget meal plans, and that is to use ingredients across multiple dishes, to use meat a little more sparingly and bulk up different dishes with plant-based protein options like beans. We also repeat meals and sometimes eat the same things or make sure that we're eating up all of our leftovers because variety is a luxury when you're on a budget. But I gotta admit, even 3 years later, I still purchase and make about 80 to 90% of what I featured in that video. And when I plugged all of the items that I purchased for that grocery haul into my Walmart app today, it came out to $93.47. So I could recreate that entire meal plan for a little less than 95 bucks. But I'm guessing you probably didn't come here to watch me remake a video I've already made before. You probably came here looking for new ideas. So let's see what I can put together for about 100 bucks for my family of 5. That comes out to right around $3 per person per day. I just pulled in to Walmart. I made a point in the video that came out 3 years ago of saying I shopped at Walmart for a reason. One of them being that this is one of the major grocery stores that's available in my area. We pretty much just have Walmart and Aldi and then a locally owned supermarket. We don't have other big chains like the Kroger chain and the Albertson chain here in Tulsa. But since 85% or so of my audience resides in the United States and Walmart is in all 50 states, this is a place that I will often shop at when I'm shooting these kinds of videos because it makes it a little bit more accessible or possible for somebody to create this meal plan, more likely that it's possible for somebody to create this meal plan wherever they are in the US. I did do a little planning, so I have a plan and an idea for the most part of what I'm gonna purchase with my $100 budget, but sometimes it takes a little finesse and a little adjustment once we get in the store and see what the prices actually are and what's available today. So let's see what we can get. Often when we are making these super tight budget meal plans, we have to make a few sacrifices. We have to sometimes accept getting what we need and sacrificing a little bit of what we want. But one thing my husband and I can't afford to sacrifice is the peace of mind knowing that our family's financial future is secure even if the unthinkable happens, which is why today's sponsor is perfect because it's Fabric by Gerber Life. Fabric is term life insurance you can get done today. In fact, it is made great for busy parents like me and probably like many of you because you can get it all done online and on your own schedule. You could be covered in under 10 minutes with no health exam required. If you're young and healthy, this might be the farthest thing from your mind, especially if you're chasing little ones all over the place. I've been in that season before. But now, when you're young and healthy, is the time to lock in low rates. Fabric has flexible, high-quality plans that can fit your family and your budget, like $1 million of coverage for less than $1 a day. With Fabric, there's no risk because they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Plus, they have over 1,900 five-star reviews on Trustpilot, and you can cancel at any time. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/cmindymom. That's meetfabric.com/cmindymom. meetfabric.com/cmindymom. Thank you to Fabric for being a longtime sponsor of my channel and for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to it. I just got back from the grocery store. I'm unloading everything. I'm going to show you what I purchased, but my subtotal was $104.09. And I was trying to figure out why I was so far over $100 because as I was shopping and keeping track on my phone, just calculating everything as I put it in my cart, I was right at $100 to $101. I knew there'd be a little bit of adjustment for the weight of produce items when I checked out. But I figured out that I accidentally purchased the 4-pound bag of frozen broccoli. I meant to purchase the 2-pound bag. I think maybe the 4-pound bags were misshelved in the freezer section, and that's why I picked that one up by accident. But I'll show you everything I got and tell you the meal plan I have in mind, and then you can make some changes according to your tastes and preferences and some adjustments if you wanted to shave off a few dollars from this grocery haul. Produce was a little tricky today. I'll explain why in just a minute, but I ended up with 3 pounds of mandarins, 3 pounds of pink ladies, 2 pounds of baby carrots, 12 bananas. I already talked about the accidental 4 pounds of broccoli florets frozen, 2 12-ounce packages of frozen green beans, and then 1 frozen package of mixed vegetables, 1 jalapeno, 1 onion, 1 bulb of garlic. I spent about $23 on produce today. That includes fresh and frozen produce. That falls right into my 20 to 30% range that I've noticed I usually spend on fruits and vegetables when I go grocery shop. The fruits and vegetables I'm purchasing depend upon the time of year and the place where I'm shopping. So you might need to make some adjustments to what you're purchasing. For instance, in the video that I filmed 3 years ago, I purchased a big watermelon for under $4, and that provided quite a few servings of fruit across the week for my family. But today it's April and watermelons aren't quite in season. In fact, they were still pretty pricey. So I picked out some other things that would provide some fruits and vegetables for my family throughout the week. And you might need to make adjustments according to where you live or what your preferences are, the sales that you find, or the time of year. I was so disappointed in my discount bread rack today. They did not have any loaves of French bread or Italian bread marked down. So I had to actually pay just the $1 per loaf for regular, not day old French bread. 2 loaves of that plus 1 loaf of just plain old sandwich bread. Moving on to some of the pantry ingredients, I have 1 30-count package of white corn tortillas and then a 10-count package of beef flavored ramen, 1 pound of dry pinto beans, 2 pounds of rice, 2 pounds of popcorn kernels. I have a 20-count package of flavored instant oatmeal, a complete pancake mix, some saltines, 1 box of cinnamon graham crackers, 1 box of store brand shells and cheese, an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, 1 can of green chili enchilada sauce, a pound of elbow mac, a big jar. This is the 45-ounce jar of pasta sauce, and also the big 40-ounce jar of peanut butter. I also wanted to set aside a few dollars from this small budget to restock some pantry staples, some seasonings, spices, condiments, oils, whatever you might need. For me, that was some cumin and also some ketchup and some ranch seasoning. I spent about $4 on those items. Maybe you need something different to restock your spices and seasonings and the things that you use to flavor your food. That's just what I needed today. Moving on over to meat and dairy. I had planned to purchase about 6 or 7 pounds of chicken legs and eat the chicken legs for one dinner, then use the leftover meat for another dinner, but I lucked out and I was able to score a package of chicken legs marked down. There are 12 in here for $3.53, and that freed up a few dollars for me to be able to pick up a rotisserie chicken that I can take apart for another recipe. Ground beef, unfortunately, was not in the budget, but I've been noticing that ground pork, not pork sausage, just plain ground pork has been very affordable at the grocery stores I'm shopping, and I was able to pick up a 24-ounce package for about the same amount that a 1-pound package of beef would cost. I'm gonna be able to split this across 2 different recipes. And then I also have some smoked sausage, some deli lunch meat for sandwiches. I needed about 2 pounds of cheese for this meal plan, and actually the best price, the best bang for my buck was to buy this 2-pound package of already shredded sharp cheddar. I have some Colby slices for sandwiches, a pound of butter, 8 ounces of sour cream, a pint of half and half, and then half a gallon of whole milk. Ah, I knew it. I left something out in the car. 5 pounds of potatoes. 5 pounds of russet potatoes. Now that you've seen the grocery haul, let's talk about the meal plan. What do I intend to do with this? When I am planning these large-scale budget meal plans across several days, I usually start with dinners, and I have 7 dinners planned. Dinner number 1, super easy, super simple, chicken legs, probably with some mashed potatoes and then either green beans or broccoli on the side. I make my chicken legs in the crock pot. It's really easy to just lay them in there, season them with whatever seasonings you like. I usually use a mixture of paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, maybe a little Italian seasoning. I let them cook low and slow until they're done, and then if I want to, as an extra step, I'll put them on a foil-lined cookie sheet and pop them under the broiler for a couple of minutes to kind of crisp up that skin. Dinner option number 2, an enchilada skillet. I plan to take the meat off the bones of the rotisserie chicken. Then it's just basically a combination of chicken, seasonings, enchilada sauce, maybe some beans if you have them. You simmer that all together, and then instead of assembling enchiladas like in a casserole dish, you just slice up the corn tortillas into little cubes, and then you stir them into the chicken enchilada sauce and let it cook for a few more minutes, and then top it with cheese, and it's ready to serve like a casserole. In one of my recent budget meal plans where I make 3 meals for around $30, I made some cheesy bean and rice tacos that were absolutely delicious. I made the filling for them in the skillet on the stove, and then I just stuffed it into tortillas with cheese, and I actually fried those to make crispy tacos. So for this meal plan, I intended to recreate that recipe but using the corn tortillas, so we could either just eat them like soft tacos with corn tortillas, or I could fry the corn tortillas and make little tostadas so we could eat them tostada style, or I can actually slice up those tortillas and throw them into my air fryer or even my oven to make little tortilla chips so we could eat it like nachos. And since I wanted to make 7 dinners, which means cooking for an entire week, I wanted a few of the meals to be super easy. And one of those easy meals is 2-ingredient tomato soup. It is just pasta sauce and half and half. I just combine those in a pot on the stove and stir it over low heat until it's heated through. And I would slice up one of those loaves of French bread and butter it, maybe garlic salt, and also sprinkle it with a little bit of cheese to pop under the broiler. So it's almost like an open-faced grilled cheese sandwich to dip into that tomato soup. And that meal is so easy and fast. And then another easy meal is baked potatoes. And I also have the ingredients to make a cheesy broccoli sauce to go along with that, and a little bit of that smoked sausage that I purchased. It's not the main course, it's just almost like a little bit of a garnish on the side with the baked potatoes. I've made that meal before for a budget video, turned out absolutely fantastic. Now in the $70 budget meal plan video from 3 years ago, I bought a huge 3-pound package of turkey, ground turkey, and I used it across 4 meals. So 3/4 of a pound across 4 meals. Well, that same package of ground turkey has gone from around $7 to over $10. So for this meal plan, I picked up the 1.5 pounds of ground pork that I intend to divide across 2 meals. I'm still gonna make the spicy ramen like I did in the first video, but for the other half of the ground pork, instead of doing just a regular spaghetti like I did in the video from 3 years ago, I intend to make just a 1-pan cheesy mac. It's sort of a hamburger helper dupe. Very easy to make on the stove. There are lots of different recipes out there for this style of meal. I'll be sure to hunt one down and leave it linked for you in the description box below. But then all I need to do is add some green veggie, and I still have a loaf of French bread that I can slice up to serve along with that as well. One of the trickiest things for me to figure out for this budget meal plan was lunches for my kids, because we're still in school, so they would need to pack a lunch. And they can't take peanut butter, peanut butter sandwiches or any kind of nut products products in their school lunches. So after thinking about it and kicking around a few different options, the easiest and most cost-efficient one was just to buy deli meat and cheese and bread to make regular turkey and cheese sandwiches. And then I bought the oranges and the apples and the carrots and the graham crackers so that they could round out those lunches that they would need to pack for school days. A few months back, I made an extreme budget $5 crock pot video, and one of the recipes was for a beans and rice that was so delicious. It makes a really great lunch prep, and even though it's simple, it was really tasty. I cooked the beans in the slow cooker with a little bit of ground up smoked sausage with some ranch seasoning, a jalapeno to give it a little kick, you know, some other just pantry seasonings, and it came out so flavorful. And then I just made up some rice to serve the beans and sausage over the top of, and it makes a really great lunch prep that yields probably 6 or 7 or even 8 servings. And then I can just fill in the rest of the lunches at home with leftovers, because normally I only cook about 5 nights a week, and every dinner I make usually yields anywhere from 6 to 8 servings. So there's always some leftovers for a leftover night. But since I planned 7 dinners, that means I'm gonna have anywhere from like 10 to 14 servings of leftovers that my husband and I can eat for lunch, and that the kids can also eat for lunch when they're home. I mentioned this before in other videos, but my family are not huge breakfast eaters, myself included, and what options we do have for breakfast need to be quick and easy. So I went ahead and picked up a complete pancake mix, just like in the old video, because I can do the sheet pan pancakes with the peanut butter. That's super easy to prep ahead of time and just slice up and keep in the refrigerator till we are ready to reheat them. But the cereal that I had purchased in that video has gone way up in price. It has almost doubled in price. And considering the fact that most people eat more than 1 serving, it probably wasn't going to make it through very many breakfasts here. So instead, I opted for some oatmeal, and I did go ahead and do the oatmeal packets because, again, I'm looking for something that my family will eat that they can easily prep for themselves. And since we're not using cereal as a breakfast option, I didn't need to purchase as much milk this time. Those things combined, including a little bit of peanut butter for topping things with, or some fruit that we can slice up along with it, give me at least 35 servings of breakfast, which is what we would need if everybody eats breakfast every single day. Now, I know that snacks are not a necessity, but I did purchase a few items that can be used as snacks across the week, including something simple like just crackers and peanut butter. But I also picked up 2 pounds of popcorn kernels. That makes a lot of popcorn. Some people like to make it the old-fashioned way on the stove using oil. I don't do it that way. I use a silicone popcorn popper that I've had for years, and you just put the kernels in there and pop it into the microwave, and it will make a huge bowl of popcorn. And since I bought butter, we can season this using just a little bit of butter and salt and pepper, or if you have like oil spray and popcorn seasonings on hand and you want to season it according to your taste, you absolutely can. Normally when I make these budget grocery hauls, these budget meal plans, I try to include some kind of dessert or sweet treat. So in the video from 3 years ago, I purchased a store brand Funfetti cake mix, and I used it to make cookies, cake mix cookies, where you just use a box of cake mix and you add some eggs and oil and water and make cookies. And I originally had that cake mix and a container of frosting in my cart because I was going to attempt a cake recipe without using any eggs. However, as I was shopping and keeping a tally of my total, I knew that I was going to be several dollars over that $100 threshold that I had set for myself, and I had to make a decision about what I wanted to remove to get a little closer to that $100 budget. And maybe, you know, you would have made a different choice. You would have chosen something else to put back, maybe the crackers or maybe the graham crackers, but those are the easiest 2 items for me to exclude, so that's what I decided to do. Now, I would consider $100 for groceries for a family of 5 a pretty extreme budget in 2025. In fact, $100 is well below the USDA's thrifty budget recommendation for a family of 5 to spend on groceries in a week. And sometimes when we're working with those very tight budgets, we can't always have exactly what we want, and we have to get very creative in order to get everybody fed. So in my opinion, this is not meant to be a sustainable way of eating and living across a long period of time. I'm trying to give some ideas or a starting point, a meal plan that you can make adjustments to and make your own if you find yourself just in a temporary tight spot where money is concerned. If you or your family or somebody you know is struggling with food insecurity, I hope that you will reach out to local resources for help. Thank you so much to Fabric for sponsoring this video and to you for watching it. And if you want to watch the original video that I referenced multiple times from 3 years ago, it's right here, or YouTube thinks you might want to watch this one.